And we are live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MBA information session. It is 5 o'clock and we're kicking off, as we like to do on time. We will have people coming in as we go along through the session. My name is Siraj Tofi. I'm the MBA convener, and I'll be your host for today. I have a cool panel of experts that I've brought along with me, and I will introduce them first. But before I even do that, let me just share with you what we will be covering today, and then I will do their introduction. We will do the introductions of the panel. I will speak a little bit around the immersive online learning experience that we have put together for you. We'll look at the program. You may have seen it on the website, but we'll look at the program structure. I'll talk about the in-person induction session that we do in Cape Town. We'll look through the module structure itself, almost the weekly cadence of what you can expect. We have the student support that we offer you, and then I'm going to very importantly open up for some questions and answers. We love that type of session, so please feel free to raise your hand, ask any of the panelists a question, or put it in the chat. But we really do prefer you to put your hand up, and the elves in the background that are feverishly working at keeping this running smoothly will switch on your mic and allow you to ask that question. So let me stop sharing and introduce you to our panel in no particular order. But just as I see them here on my screen, I've got Evelyn. Evelyn is our program manager of the MBA, and she will cover some of the support, student support queries, as well as possibly at the end, we'll talk about the next steps within the application process. We've got Kim, and Kim is one of our current students, a PG DBA alumni, if I'm correct, Kim. And then, and she's currently one of our students to get a student perspective on from there. We've got Zan. Zan is one of our senior lecturers. She's also the convener of the PG DBA, but she's also wears a second hat, and that is she was very crucial in putting together the overall MBA that I'll explain to you now. It's been redeveloped from the skeleton up, and Zan played an important role in that. So I'm going to ask her a couple of questions on that, and any of your difficult questions, I have her just to pass the hospital pass to if I need to. Then next to me as well, I've got Sivigan. He is one of our alumni who has officially finished his MBA and can happily go out there and tell everyone he has an MBA, because that's what we do when we have MBAs. We tell people we have an MBA. But that, as I do, I have an MBA. But anyway, I had to fit it into my first 3 minutes of a conversation. And you'll realize when you graduate why you do that is because it's so hard and you're so proud of it. You just want to tell anyone. You're walking down the street, you just want to go, I've got an MBA. And then I don't know if you've got an MBA, Ron, but Ron is one of our exco, and he's also the director of marketing. He's also overseeing the business school at the moment. So Ron is here just to keep me in check and make sure I do my job properly, but more importantly, to answer any questions. And guys, what we're going to do today, I do not want to. I literally have a few slides that are purely here to kind of prompt me on what I'm saying, but it's a conversation. I'm going to throw it to any of the panelists to jump in wherever they can. If any of them want to say anything, they can, by all means, jump in, either correct me or add a view when it comes to that. All right, so we've allowed my intro to allow more people into the room. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. Let me start off by saying thank you for even just taking the time out to find out a little bit more about our MBA. And firstly, well done. It's that first step in this long journey, is to at least be in one of these sessions and find out more information. All right, so back to sharing my screen so that I can continue with the presentation. So the first bit that we're doing is, we are doing an immersive online learning experience. That's what we do at Milpark. There are people that do distance learning. There are people who do in-person learning. We do an immersive online learning experience, which is this combination of all of the good things and all of the things that work and matter to people, right? Because you get the collaboration, you get the connectedness with the cohort experience, but you also get the complete convenience of being able to study from anywhere. Now, so I'm going to jump straight to Kim. Kim, you are kind of experiencing this as someone who's doing this immersive learning, online learning not for the first time, but you had the distance learning experience, and now you've got this immersive learning online experience. What would you say is different? What are you enjoying about it?
Sorry, Siraj, just before Kim answers, I think you are sharing your screen that's showing everyone.
So now I've put all of you over there. Okay, let me just show you here then. Okay, good. Thank you. See, that's exactly, Ron. Job done. You can keep your salary for today. Thank you for that.
Hi, Siraj. Thanks for inviting me to be here today. So I actually came through the PGDA, not the PGDBA. I've been with Milpark since 2021. I'm currently busy with the last block, which is the fourth block for the first year of the MBA. And it's been really transformative. It's been challenging, and it's changed the way that I see myself and the world around me. I was quite nervous going into the MBA. I didn't really know what to expect from it, because I think I'm the first cohort coming into the newly designed MBA with Milpark. And in the in-person induction at the beginning of the year, I got to meet a whole bunch of really amazing people. And one of those was Andrew Hosful, who'd actually been one of my lecturers during the bridging to the PGDA. And he said to me, the MBA wasn't difficult in the way that a PGDA was technically vigorous, but the MBA was complicated. And I think that's been very deliberate on the part of Milpark. It's challenging because it constantly asks you to reflect on yourself as a person and as a team member, and that can be really uncomfortable sometimes. And you're constantly asked to formulate opinions on things that you often feel you are not qualified to give an opinion on. And sometimes you actually just want someone to give you the answer, to be honest. But then you realize that the MBA is actually equipping you for the real world, where today's answer isn't necessarily the right answer tomorrow. And it's developing the courage to ask the right questions. So I'm really excited to experience the next part of the journey. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for that. Ron, I'm actually going to jump to you because, yes, we were chatting about it yesterday. And maybe you can touch on our focus area of leadership within and why that's a focus area. You were talking about something where we're not going to be for everyone. And if you're looking for a technical MBA about a particular area, we're not for you, but we are what the country needs.
Yeah, so Raj, it's an interesting one. And in my past life, I was actually a tax lecturer on the PGDA. So that's where I've come through. I was previously part of the finance teaching, and strategy was a big part of that course. And in my mind, strategy is, if you ask me to define strategy, strategy is the things that you say no to. And so it's very important from a strategic perspective, from a Milpark Exco, that we were very clear on what we were not. Right? Because often when you hear people talk about their strategy, they talk about all the things they are, but actually the strategic choices you make are what you don't want to be. And so in this new age where everyone's talking about AI and optimizing data and fourth industrial revolution, we had a look and said, okay, what is going to be our unique selling point? What is going to be our strategic direction? And we actually, in our minds, think that AI problems and data problems are not South African contextual problems. Our problems are human-centric. Our problems are leadership problems. And if you think about the South African context, your ability to lead a diverse cohort or group of people is what sets you apart, not your ability to use Power BI and manage high volumes of data. You can get experts to do that. And so we wanted to be clear that we were a very human-centric course. And actually, if you wanted to go the data direction or the AI direction, we are not the MBA for you. So in summary, South Africans' problems are people problems, not data problems. And we want to provide practical solutions in that landscape.
Cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Before I'm going to get into the kind of the new design of that MBA. Siv, do you want to perhaps share your kind of experience? I know that you experienced, you didn't do the brand new MBA, but it's still, you've done an MBA with Milpark. What has that actually done for you? How has that changed you and your career since then?
Yeah, good question. Hi, everyone. I think it also, to add on to what Ron raised, it gives me a lot of, it covered my basis comprehensively, right? In the sense that I came from a consulting background. So I moved from retail to finance to the government sectors. And so I needed the confidence to be able to hold conversations with different personalities, different levels of exco. And I think what the MBA gave me was the confidence and capability to be able to engage at different levels and different settings, which I think people take for granted, you know? So Ron mentioned that we're not trying to specialize or focus on a particular niche. And I think that's the beauty of an MBA. It gives you opportunity. And that's what I got from this particular MBA, in the sense that it gave me the ability to spread my wings, move into different sectors at ease, and be able to climb in the sense that I'm growing, not just from a academic perspective, but also in my understanding and awareness of how different environments are, how they operate, but they're very similar in a way, and being able to understand those caveats and dynamics very quickly. So I think that's the thing I appreciate from an MBA, from my perspective.
Yeah, and Kim, interesting. Yes, yesterday we were chatting, and you mentioned something that you even felt yourself change in the first few weeks or months, didn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I could definitely see that that sort of discomfort, but at the same time, it was actually stretching me to grow as a person, because I had to constantly do this self-reflection on myself. And sometimes that highlights blind spots that you weren't aware of, which is when we learn to grow as people and as leaders.
Yeah. So you set that up perfectly for my next question, and that's to you, Zon. I mean, I think as part of the thinking of how we put this together, reflection seems to be an enormous part of the journey.
Absolutely, Siraj. Thank you for having me. I must admit, Kim, it's actually I can't help but smile when I hear you speak, because while you're designing the program and conceptualizing it, we have things in mind, but you don't always know whether it's going to land exactly the way that you've planned. But listening to you gives me confidence that we weren't just designing it to avoid, that the things that we actually wanted you to experience are exactly the things that you mentioned. Like, for example, being that uncomfortableness with reflection. Yes, Siraj, our MBA students get a lot of time for reflection, because it's through reflection that you really learn. That's when you actually absorb the information that you've just been working through, and asking yourself not only what does it mean, but also what does it mean for me going forward? Because reflections that are only backward facing aren't really productive. But a lot of the reflections that we build into the course are forward facing. In other words, what does this mean for me in my new role? What does this mean for next time I engage with my team? So it's definitely part and parcel of the whole experience. And there's luckily no right or wrong when it comes. We can't tell you, oh, that's a bad reflection. It's part of your, and I think that's for me also quite important. There's obviously a lot of assessments and ways of moving you through the material and the course. But ultimately, it is when you make a decision to do this course and spend your time and energy in engaging with this, how much you will be transforming and how much you are going to feel like you're a different person is completely up to how deeply you engage with that reflective process. And that's the one thing that we can't give you marks on. You're going to get marks for your tests and marks for your assessments, etc. But when it comes to the transformative part, which you will only get if you really wholeheartedly participate in the reflections, that we can't really give you marks for. But I'm hoping that that's actually the biggest benefit that the program in the end.
And again, and now I'm going to jump back to Siv. Siv, how much of your growth and your learning came from your assessments, and how much of it came from the experience of the MBA?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So let's put it this way, right? I when I started off, I thought the bulk of it would come from the content and from what I'm experiencing in the classroom, but it was actually the opposite. The bulk of it actually came from my interaction with my fellow colleagues and the discussions we had in the classroom setting online. And I think that contributed more to my learning and my development than I anticipated. And it's actually difficult to measure because it's that intangible stuff that you learn and the confidence that you build and the awareness that you gain that really is the unspoken benefit of the MBA here. So it's not just writing tests, doing assessments, passing and moving on. It's all that extra stuff that you get from the program.
Yeah, brilliant. That's exactly it, and how I experience it as well. Is that there's a lot of angst, and there's, as it should be, right, around assessments, and we try and make them tough, and we try and make them challenging. But the learning is what happens between that, and that's why. And I'll talk about the in-person induction, but that's why we've also introduced the in-person induction. Since you've done it, you unfortunately didn't do that, Siv, but we have introduced it since then. So thank you for that. I'm going to move on just onto the next bit, and that's around our actual program. And this little slide isn't on the website necessarily, but again, Zaan, you want to talk through this slide a little bit and how we've positioned the student in the middle and the three functional or the three areas of development.
Thanks, Siraj. Yes, so this is a holistic view of how the whole MBA fits together. And you can actually see that at the core of it is the self, so that's you. And the hope is that that through this transformative experience, who you are and what you do is what's going to change. So who you are, it doesn't help if it changes who you are, but not also what you do when you go back into your business environment. And the 2-year journey is structured very specifically. So I think you'll show the modules next time, and you go back to the holistic picture.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So the sequence in which you will be completing the mod. This is not a pick and mix kind of MBA where you go and choose this model. Now I'm going to do this one. Now I'm going to do that one. we're very deliberate in terms of how we structure the modules. So in the first block 1 and 2, we work on foundations and the foundational modules and values, which is what everyone does. That's the first one modules in the red, in the yellow there. And we align the content in those modules with what we call our leadership development module. Now, the leadership development module runs the full 2 years of the program. And that's the module you are going to be reflecting in most modules, but that's the module that forces you. I think there's about 100 reflections over those 2 years, where you really engage. And so the content that you'll be doing in the leadership development module first speaks to personal leadership, and then interpersonal leadership, and then professional leadership. And so if you just go back to the previous one, Siraj, so that's the foundation. And then we move into the functional areas of business. So where you are working with others. And for me, the best way always of capturing the functional areas of business is that you might not be a specialist in finance or a specialist in marketing or a specialist in operations, but through the functional modules, which covers all these different themes, when you take your seat at the boardroom, which is where we want you to be, when the person in charge of marketing is speaking and explaining the marketing strategy of the company, you need to be in a position where you can ask, and that's what Kim also mentioned. So I was very like, yay, Kim mentioned it. You need to ask the right questions. So you might not be the marketing expert, but you need to know enough about marketing so you can ask the right questions, whether it's the CFO or the CIO or whichever one of those are talking. And then once you've completed the functional areas of business, you then go into integration, and that there's an integration module that has an element of consulting and assimilation. And so that's the second year of the MBA. And then, of course, the dissertation, the big research assignment, because this is an academic qualification and you have to demonstrate that you have the academic ability to express yourself in a coherent manner. But most importantly for us, and this is a little bit different, Sivagan, from when you were here, we are now very deliberate in the research themes that you can choose from. Ron mentioned that we were looking, when we looked at our MBA positioning, like what does South Africa need? We need and the leaders that we need to take our country into a better space. And we've selected research themes that speak to that. So if you want to do a dissertation on the future of TikTok, then this is probably, again, not the MBA for you. If you are more concerned about what's happening in society and how business can make a difference and how leaders can make a difference, you should be able to find a research theme that speaks to you.
Good.
That's my story.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just want to go back to this one and say that another thing that you didn't mention there, Zan, is the scaffolding of the learning. So we've kind of consciously built this so that you're learning things in the beginning that's going to help you with other modules later on. For example, your business acumen essentials is giving you that thing around. There's a whole lot of different themes around diversity, ways of thinking, your writing skills, right? So we're trying to get you to get all of your writing skills up to an academic level with the correct referencing and citations and everything else, because we understand that even if you've come through an academic journey, that still needs to be honed to a level so that when you get to there later on in your dissertation, that it's actually on point. Now, so that's one example. But then even your leadership in organization, your leadership, leading an organization responsibly, those all work hand in hand with your leadership development journey that is unfolding at the same time that your learning journey is unfolding. I mean, that these other ones are unfolding. And the integration into business happens at a couple of different areas. So we've got leading an organization in context, or is it in when they work with the NPOs? Which one of the two?
That's in leading an organization responsibly.
Responsibly, sorry. So responsibly, LDRS, yes. So in that one, you actually we actually work with NPOs, and the students go in there and integrate and help an NPO with strategy, help them with their leadership, and it's a really good opportunity quite early on to test that ability to work with students. Within the leadership development module in block 3, we do, and 3 and 4, we do something called TAB, which is the alternate board, and their students work as if they are the board of entrepreneurial small ventures, and it's through an internationally accredited organization called TAB at the moment. We're using that organization, and they put us in touch with real life entrepreneurs who have problems, and then our students try and help them. And then later on in the integrated business simulation, there's both a simulation game, but there's also real life opportunities to work with a business consultancy, and we try and again get you to work with also international opportunities there. So that's kind of there's 4 blocks in a year. There is we try and keep it to this block could be quite heavy because it's got 3 functional blocks plus leadership development plus you writing your dissertation. But your dissertation is the entire year you can work on that. Plus we've left block 4 open for you to work on your dissertation. Then these 2 pink elements over here are the electives. We've got a choice of 2 electives, leader as coach, and there is, by the way, an opportunity for you as a student in your leadership development journey. In blocks 1 and 2, you get allocated a business coach. You work with that business coach to talk about your learning journey, but also your experience at work. You get it 6 months. We provide you with that coach. But yeah, the leader as coach is you becoming that coach and you becoming more of a leader that has a coaching philosophy and mentality, right? And then the very excitingly, the business in emerging markets is where we learn about exactly that, doing business in taking South African businesses and expanding them into emerging markets. But the real kicker is it includes a trip to said country. So in exactly a month's time, and yes, I am the lecturer for this. I don't know how did I land that? I don't know. But I am taking a group of 15 students, and we are heading to Egypt in Cairo. Kim is coming with us. She's doing this as her elective. And we're going for an immersive tour to Cairo, to a business school there, Esleska University. And we will be having lessons in the mornings. We visit companies in the afternoons, and we have cultural visits and seeing the pyramids and doing some other nice things as well. That particular module does cost an extra cost of the trip, but it really is quite affordable. And one student said, you can't even go on holiday for that if you wanted to. Plus, everything you're getting in that deal is quite amazing. So business in emerging markets, we're going to Egypt this year. Next year, we don't know where we're going yet. It might be back there, or it might be another emerging market in the world. But yeah, it's really something amazing to be a part of. I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because we're just going to talk through. We're going to talk through some other elements. Let me do that just so that it doesn't make us so small. One of the other things we've done, and Ron, I'm going to come to you here, is we've involved a in-person induction. And Ron, you want to talk us through the thinking on why we get everyone to Cape Town, and the fact that we're actually investing in it, in that it's part of the fee. The students don't pay anything extra.
Yeah, sure. So this was part of our kind of reimagined MBA journey. And I think if I take you back to the previous MBA, before this, before these changes were made, we didn't have a cohort approach. So you could join the MBA at any time in any of the floor blocks during the year, and you kind of just rolled through. You treated your modules almost as building blocks, and once you've achieved all those the requisite number of credits that you needed to, you had this MBA. We switched that up and decided to move to a cohort approach, and then only have 2 intakes a year as opposed to the previous model. And why we think the cohort approach is very important is that we believe that it's in this new immersive online world, it allows you to get to know that cohort a little bit better, and those people become the ones that hold you accountable, the ones that are kind of pushing and encouraging each other. But also this, because we've got a cohort approach, we can now be much more intentional around how we select groups, because a lot of the MBA involves group work. And so there's a lot of group work in this new cohort approach. So the thinking was that if you're going to spend 2 years investing in a group work approach, the best thing to do to kick it off is to meet all of those, meet your fellow group members in person. And so from last year, we started this in-person induction in Cape Town at our Mill Park offices. And it's a kind of a 2-day immersive, get to know everyone, get to know your lecturers type experience. But it enables you to meet your group members, get a lot of your initial questions answered. And it's just a way for us to connect relationally. I think that's really important. And we believe it's so important that it's included as part of the cost of your MBA. So it's not an additional cost. We fly you to Cape Town, you spend some time in a hotel here, and we show you the sites.
Nice, thank you, Ron. And Kim, you experienced that in February this year. Do you want to share anything? Yes. Not too much detail, just some nuggets and the experience of it.
Yeah, so the induction was really great. You actually, like Ron said, you got to meet people that you'll be working with for the next 2 years of your life. Those small interactions, they build a sense of camaraderie, so you don't feel so alone and isolated. And it really actually set the tone for the rest of the MBA. And you realize that everyone there is just exactly the same as you. Everyone has commitments on their time, and that support that you give each other during the MBA is just so important. And we took part in a number of different team building activities, which were quite fun. We were part of the amazing race at the V&A waterfront, and the flash mob as well, which our team rocked completely. Actually, no, it was terribly awkward. So no one was looking for our autographs. And it was really well organized as well. I'd really like to just say thank you to Mill Park for that. They organized everything. So it was great. It was definitely one of the highlights for me.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, and it's again, it is a lot of fun, and it's about building up that social capital, right? So you and it makes, and that's part of this immersive online, is that you aren't then just strangers on a screen. You have met them, you have shaken their hands, you almost know who to go and rely on, or with someone else that might be able to help you and work together within that. So yeah, thank you. On to the next thing, which is more the module structure, right? So what I mean by that is we have asynchronous, where the learning happens. So we have taken a lot of time, and Zan and her learning innovation and development team had taken a lot of time to consciously put together the content to make it easily consumable. We use a learning management system called Canvas. It allows us to embed a lot of content. We don't really use textbooks because we provide all the content in little bite-sized chunks as you need it. And it's better than just taking this massive textbook and going cover to cover. You follow the learning journey as you're going along. So your learning happens asynchronously by yourself, but not totally by yourself, because there are lots of opportunities within while you're learning to drop a question in a discussion. People contribute, and there's a discussion happening within the online space. And then we have interactive synchronous sessions. And on most modules, we have 6 of them: an introductory 1-hour session, and another 1-hour session to end it off. We top and tail with that. And then 4 2.5-hour live sessions where we come together in teams and we talk. Now, we don't lecture. It's not a repeat of what you're learning online. You should have learned everything by the time you get into the class. And we're there to have a discussion, put things into practice, engage, break away into groups, work on things, and it helps further help that knowledge just sink in and solidify. We also connect you there into industry by pulling in a lot of guest speakers and getting their perspective of real life examples. Kim, your experience of the live sessions?
Oh, the live sessions are great. So the syndicate work, often like you said, you get split into syndicate groups, and it's not always the structured group. It can just be random people. So that's the really nice thing, is you get to work with different people at different stages. And it also, like I said in the beginning, you're constantly asked to formulate opinions. And then during these sessions, you're expected to defend those positions. So that's wonderful, because it builds the confidence to actually defend an opinion when you get out into the corporate world.
Yeah, lovely.
Sorry, Siraj, I'll just add
yes.
a kind of a different way of framing it, is that the material is online to be consumed in a flexible way, in a way that suits you. But the in-person sessions are about experience and relationship, right? And as Kim alludes to, it's about, being brave. We often talk about in Mill Park about learning being the ultimate act of bravery. You've got to take risks in your mind, because you're putting a hypothesis out to the group and you are putting yourself in the position to be scrutinized. And that's a scary place to be. And I think what's so valuable about this MBA is that you have so much experience that when you leave there, you can confidently go into the world and say, I put my hypothesis in there. Sometimes I was wrong, sometimes I was right, but actually I put myself on the line, and I'm braver for the experience. And I think that's where the real value lies.
Yeah, absolutely. But the other thing with the asynchronous and learning from home, let's just put it that when you learn sitting there, is the support that's around you. And we really don't leave you alone. Our motto and our payoff line is, you've got this and we've got you. And Evelyn, was the program manager, forms a big part of that, which is that support function. Eve, what kind of support do we have around the students from the time they get into the time that they walk across the stage, like Siv has done?
Thanks, Raj. Yes, we do have, hi everyone, we do have a full spectrum of support mechanisms with the MBS team. That's myself, the program manager, the student support manager, the senior lecturers in the school, and we also have a dedicated support team. So from the time a student submits an application, they support with the application. If you need any information, we schedule, for example, an entrance assessment. I'll work directly with you to schedule that. If you need to change the date, if you have any technical support, you contact me or the support team. We also have facilitators that are there to support you on your student portal, which Siraj mentioned. We use Canvas. You'll have a booking link for every module where you can schedule a meeting with your facilitator. We have the chat function as well on Canvas, where you can talk to other students and your facilitator. And then if there are classes, we are also available before and after the class to answer questions. Siraj touched on the coaches. You will be assigned a coach in the first 6 months, so you'll have sessions with them. That's another support mechanism. And then, as I mentioned, we have the support team to assist you from beginning to end. We also have introduced October Help. It's an app to provide a broad spectrum of support, including study skills, stress management, counseling services. They have tips, live talks, anything you need, you can refer to October Help. So it's available on your desktop as well as your mobile phone. Siraj, I think that's
yeah,
some
thank
of
you.
it.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And by the way, just what's happening here is that I forgot to plug my computer in, and luckily my daughter I WhatsApped her, please bring my charger. That also happens here still. So thank you, Eve. And I think, look, while I've got you here, and before we open to more questions, what's the process between now and if those that are watching in the audience, they are blown away by how amazing this is and they want to sign up, what happens now?
So I was pleased to see some of the students already in the audience who've submitted applications. So that's great. It's nice to meet you online. So the process is quite simple. We've been intentional about making it smooth. Candidates can go online onto our website and click Apply Now button. There you'll be required to submit a copy of your CV, a one-page motivational essay supporting your application, copy of your qualifications, your ID, and so forth. And then there's a form to fill out to complete the entrance assessment. You just need to give us permission to use your details. The assessment is conducted by Top Talent Solutions. It's a 2-hour online assessment. There's no preparation required. It's quite straightforward. And I do also provide a link to you when I schedule your assessment, just to do a mock test to make you feel comfortable. Once the assessment is done, Siraj and I, or some of the panel members, Ron, may sit on your interview. It's a short interview, it's half an hour. I'll send you an invite and we'll chat to you about the motivation around you applying for the MBA, the structure of the MBA, and answer any questions that you may have. So it's a simple process. Once we receive your application, we'll schedule your entrance assessment. And thereafter, when we receive your results, we'll schedule an interview and then send you the outcome.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open the floor up to questions. I'm going to ask the audience to, if you want, please raise your hand and we will take any questions. You can ask any of us on the panel a question that you feel we are suited to answer, or if you just want to ask a question, I'll divert to who should answer that. But it really is, it's a really cool opportunity to get a feeling of how these sessions work, what you can expect in the next while, and then, yeah, then we go from there. I see it's Sherilyn ready. As soon as your mic is switched on, you can ask your question. Oh wait, just hold on. I think it was on, or wasn't it? I think we'll switch it on for you, as far as I understand. But let's see. Try it out now.
It's been switched on. Thank you.
There you go.
Good evening, everybody. I'm currently doing the postgrad in investment management. I will only be done next year, but I was very interested when I got the email about the MBA and to see what it offers. And while you were talking, I went onto the website and looked at the timetable, and that looks like a lot. Do you think this is advisable if the intention is to do this part-time?
So yeah, I'll jump in with that, but there's also other people. So both Siv and Kim are the best people to answer that, and they both did it part-time. Siv, you want to go? Even though you didn't do this current one, I think you still are in one of the best places, you and Kim, to answer that.
Yeah, sure. I think yes. The answer is definitely yes. It always seems intimidating in the beginning, but I think once you get into the rhythm of it and you get your structure in place, the program is flexible enough to accommodate, any changes in things happen in life. We roll with the punches, and I think from my experience, given the bespoke nature of this MBA, it caters for things that happen in life. So there will be times where you feel like it's too much, or you're never going to get through it. But trust me, the risk that you're taking by just starting will outweigh all the negative thoughts that you have about not doing it. So the benefit far outweighs the the concerns that you have.
Thank you. Kim, you are kind of going through this right now, right? So you're going through this, and
Yes.
to answer that question of, is it too much? Because I know you definitely have a full-time job.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, you don't, by the time you get to an MBA stage, most of us have already got demanding jobs. So I think it's definitely doable. You obviously have to be quite intentional about your time, but the lovely thing about the online environment is that you can structure it when it's convenient for you. So I'm a person who is up at 4 a.m. and that's my time to study, which means that evenings I do get some family time if you do have young families or you have other commitments on your time. And, like Sivikan said, it might seem very daunting now, but the only way to eat the elephant is one bite at a time. And that's what the MBA is. You climb the mountain steadily and you'll get to the top eventually. I hope I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Thank
the thing
you so
is,
much.
we've also, it looks like a lot, but you're never inundated, Kim. There's kind of, it's never too full. There's a lot, right? Let me put it, I don't want to make this sound easy. It's a lot of work. You got to prepare to put in a lot of work, but we've consciously thought this through, and you're never going to have things that clash on top of each other. We're trying to see where all the assessments don't clash. So you're not writing something for one subject and as well as something else. We do try that. And then with the live sessions are between 6 at the 1 hour session is 1 to 6, and the other one is 6 to 8:30. And that's quite consistent. And you may have 2 to 3 sessions a week. Is that right, Kim? And you've managed that really well, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, that's correct. So I think the most we've ever had is 2 per week for subjects, and that seems to, because it's normally like a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and like you say, it's consistent, and the timetable is being given right in the beginning of the block, so you can schedule your life around that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you for your question, Shirin. I hope that answered your question.
It does. Thank you.
Okay. We've got a question in the chat. Patrick, I'm not sure. I'm happy to read your question out and throw it out there, unless you do want to let us hear your voice. But if you can't, I'm happy to read it out. But Patrick was asking, he's in middle management position in the health under mining industry. And I have a postgraduate in public health with a minimum background in business. Would you advise me to go straight to an MBA or start a PGDBA? Who do I ask before I take a stab? You know it's coming to you, Ron. I can see the smile. You knew it was coming to you.
I wouldn't have chosen me if I was one of the choosers. But I would say that, and I think Zon's in a good position to actually offer the best advice here. But I would say that if you haven't come from a strong finance background, I think the PGDBA is a good place to start. But the PGDBA and the MBA, just so you're aware, have overlap modules. So it's not like if I do the PGDBA, then I have to start the MBA from scratch. You will have already covered a number of your MBA modules already, and then you can slide in with the course. It's also a good way to find out if this is what you want before making that kind of huge commitment there. Zon, if you can add to that.
Absolutely, because that's exactly what I was thinking as well, Ron. I think the difference is the PGDBA is a 1-year commitment, the MBA is a 2-year commitment. And if you, and it's a very good gauge to see where you are at. We also have, and whether you do the MBA or the PGDBA, we have a course called Finance for Non-Financial Managers. That especially if you don't have that finance background, then that is another course that you can do to assist you. And then, because the workload on the PGDBA is not any less than the MBA, I can definitely tell you that. So if you can manage through the PGDBA, then you are very well positioned to do the MBA. And then, practically speaking, your 2-year MBA becomes a 1.5 year. So you basically, if you do both qualifications, you're looking at 2.5 years. But financially, you start off by making a smaller commitment, see if it's right for you, and then progression to the MBA. So definitely is a good starting point. And also, I mean, when you come, Siroz, and you actually know more about this than I do, but when our students apply and we get their assessment results, if we see that someone is not quite ready for the MBA, we would also at that point advise you to maybe consider the PGDA as a precursor, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to hear Sevigan's answer to this as well, and then I'll give my opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done both. So I've done the PGDBA first and obviously then the MBA. The formats may have changed since then, but to be honest, in hindsight, I would have just gone straight into the MBA. I think it was more a softer landing for me doing the PGDBA first, but by no means was that the easier route. You know, it was quite a bit of a commitment on my side. So, you know, I would definitely consider, you know, MBA first if you've got the right background in terms of finance and exposure to business. But there's a lot of factors. You know, it's like where you are in your career, what are you looking to gain from your academic experience and opportunities that you're looking to go into. But from my experience, if I had to do it again, I probably would have jumped straight into the MBA.
And that I was going to lean towards that as well, actually. And it's not only because I want them to come to my course and not yours, Zan, just so you know. but the reason for that is we're quite conscious about who we put in the room as well. And we want the diversity of experiences, and we don't want a whole lot of business people who all think they know what they're doing, or we want the person who's there with a completely different viewpoint, asking questions from a different angle. And I think it adds and it enhances that overall experience of the classroom when we get differences of opinion. So again, what I would encourage you to do, and like Zan was saying, it's only an extra half a year that you get if you go through the PGDBA, because when you start your PGDBA, the first class you sit in, you're sitting with your MBA counterparts in that business acumen essentials, and you won't even know who's different, because and that's what's so nice. When we have the discussions, and the PGDBA guys hold their own. I'm tracking the results of them on the shared modules, and they are on a lot of times they're outshining the MBA students, and it's just a matter of affordability, time, and everything else. Because at least with the PGDBA, if you do that, you end up after 1 year with a whole nother degree. That's always a nice thing. Graduation's always great. So I hope that's answering your question, Patrick. You're getting the differences of opinion, and you're getting the example of what Kim was speaking about, which is, hey, we don't have all the answers, and that's what it's going to be. Here are different viewpoints. You're going to have to make a decision for yourself. Yeah. Any other questions out there? We've got 7 minutes. I see Sherilyn has dropped off because she's got class already. She's got that other PG class that she's on. She's got a class at 6. Any other questions from anyone in there? Yes. Lehlo Honolo. Did I get that right? Lehlo Honolo.
Yeah, mind your tongue, you know. my name is yeah, thanks for the invitation, guys. I joined a bit later, I think, and I heard you saying like the method you know, of study, it's quite a new model, I think. Something like that. So the 2 years of study is a standard duration for this course. I think with the previous one, by the way, I was a Milpa student back then when it was still in Joburg. And recently I went to Millpark campus there. I saw like a spooky building. No one is there. So
Yes,
yeah,
we're all online.
So is the standard duration 2 years, or is there an option for a person that might say, you know what, perhaps let me just stay off work for a while and spend a year to complete the course? Is there such an option? Number two,
So-
question quickly. Yeah, this is the second one and last one. Is maybe something you don't even want to hear about. The biggest elephant in the room nowadays, it's artificial intelligence. There's been big debates about what is the school's practice or policy with regards to, artificial intelligence? Because I think this thing is so annoying sometimes. When you open your computer, it just jumps in, if you search for an article or whatever. So yeah, those are my two questions. Thanks.
Okay.
I can take that. I can kick us off, yes, Siraj.
Yeah, I'll take the AI. I don't mind doing the AI, and you can touch on both. Go for it.
Now I was going to say that you could probably do this over a longer period, but it's unlikely that you could be able to do it over a shorter period. So I don't think we really have an option with the scaffolding and the dissertation to get that any quicker for you. It's actually designed, and this goes back to Sherilyn's question earlier. It's actually designed for people that are working, that want to get their MBA whilst not having the opportunity cost of not being able to work. So it's intentionally designed for that. When you talk about AI, are you talking about using AI on the course, or how we teach you about AI? Maybe just give me an idea there, of just clarify.
No, it might not be intentional, that I use AI. Well, AI is tempting generally, especially when you sit on a computer. But, generally in terms of, citations, maybe intentionally, or perhaps it could be that whatever I'm researching on might be something contained in AI. Maybe at a later stage, if you pick it up, then what would be the steps you take?
I'll leave that to Siraj, but we've got, I'll let you deal with that, Siraj.
Yeah, just on AI, two things. One is, we are not anti-AI. We actually, within the leadership development module, we have a webinar series where we get a specialist or AI specialist to come and teach you how to use AI in your business. Because I think if we ignored it as a thing, then we're being an ostrich. We're putting our head in the ground and saying, oh, there's AI, but we can't do it with us, right? And then when it comes to assessments, we've got 3 tiers of assessments. One is a red assessment, which is you may not use AI. None. You cannot use AI. Then there's an orange. It's a traffic light if you haven't worked it out yet. Orange is where you can use a little bit of AI, but you need to declare what you used it, show us your prompts, show us which AI you used, and you may have used it for your language and everything else. And then the green one is where it's part of the assessment. You need to use AI. Use AI and develop this. So those are the 3 things. If it's red, we really don't want you to use it. We do have tools that can read it. There's Turnitin, but we also have 2 other official systems that read AI checkers that we read. So if Turnitin, which is our main marking system, checks plagiarism and AI, if you have a high AI score, that then gets run through the other 2, and just to make sure that AI hasn't given you a false positive. So that's how we do it. You'll get a warning the first time, but not only a warning, we help you with it. There's a course that we have on the learning management system on how to use AI, how to best use it, what not to do. We talk through it and we counsel you through that if you ever are,
Basically, we use AI to check if you're using AI, and if the one AI tells the other AI that you've been using AI, then we check another AI to check that.
And we just go, I.
So, look, I suppose broader, or maybe a little bit more esoteric, you're going to use AI throughout the course. I think there's kind of an expectation on our side that happens. But the real skills that you're going to learn, like empathy and collaboration, and which is the real value of the MBA, that sits outside of that, right? And that's up to you to embrace, and that comes back down to our strategy on the kind of leader that we want to produce from this course.
Yeah, and we want you to think for yourself and let AIs help you. But we don't want AI to think for you. That's what it is. Okay, I'm getting applause there. Edmund, I know we're at 6, but I'm going to take your question. If anyone does need to drop off, I totally understand that. And you are welcome to reach out to us. I think you will get communication from our marketing guys after this anyway. But if you can stay for Edmund's question, that will be great. Edmund?
Good evening, Saraj. Pleased to meet you again. So I did PGDBA with Stellenbosch last year. So I'm going to take this advantage to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
so there were some modules that we did, and we were advised that we're going to be credited for MBA. Do you think some of those will also apply, and can I get some credits on them?
So the easy answer is yes. Any other accredited institution, and Stellenbosch is one of them. Oh, Azan Zan, do you want to answer this? Have I already said something wrong? Are you on mute? So I don't know if it's you.
Yes and no. Yes and
yes.
no. Because for those of you that don't know the terminology, a PGDBA as it is at an NQ level 8, which is in terms of the CHE. A MBA is at a NQF level 9. So in order for us to, the way that we've structured our PGDBA MBA journey is that the modules for which our students get credit for when they transition from the PGDBA to the MBA are NQF 8 level modules. So it doesn't mean, Edmund, that you won't get credit, but we will have to, it will be very specific. We'll have to look at your transcript. So I don't want the blanket statement. That's all that I was trying to get to. It will have to depend on your transcript.
All right,
I was gonna get there, Zan. I promise you. But Edmund, you were in my class last year. That is, am I right? When I was still at the So that was the entrepreneurial class. What we'll do, for example, just that module. We'll look at that module, and I know it, and we'll look at the entrepreneurial module here at Molpark. I also know it.
Yeah.
And we'll overlap it, and we'll see, is there enough of an overlap to give you a credit on that? However, Zan, our entrepreneurship is at NQF level 9. Am I right? So therefore therefore you won't get it. So you will do entrepreneurship again, because ours is at a 9 and you passed it at an 8. But we will look at your full transcripts. Evelyn and I will kind of assess, or she'll upload it and kind of see what can you get it, and then we'll give you a response and say you get credits for these modules. But I'm almost certain there will be a few that you could.
Okay, thank you so much. It was difficult enough for me to get a credit, So
okay, Edmund, thank you.
Thanks,
guys. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time and being here. And for all of Siv and Kim, our guests, thank you guys for your insights, and it was absolutely valuable. Thanks to our team, our Molpark team, and especially thank you to Handley and her marketing team in the background for setting up and making everything run smoothly. And really, guys, all I can say is that age-old saying of a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. You've actually already taken that step by being here. You may as well take the second step, and that's applying. If this kind of sounds like it's for you. So we look forward to seeing you in this process, and hopefully touching base soon. Thank you, Handley. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Cheers.